So we're going to do price projections of if Shelley and Goguen come out and there's basically no altcoin bull run, what it will be. If Shelley and Goguen come out, there's no altcoin bull run, and then they actually onboard a lot of those projects, what it will actually be. If there is a bull run but no Shelley and Goguen, if there's only Shelley, so we'll cover a myriad of actual possibilities. So let's actually go with first, if Shelley comes out but not Goguen, what will actually the price be if there's not a bull run? So if Shelley comes out and there's no Goguen, I actually believe Cardano can, off the Shelley pump, get to about 15 cents. Now this is without, without a bull run or Goguen coming out. How I actually see this is like Shelley, Cardano actually went up to about 9 cents just on the hint of Shelley coming out later last year. And that's actually without the platform coming out. I think people have been waiting for this platform for so long that when it does come out, it will give it that extra bump and bump it up to about 15 cents. Now, without Goguen coming out following it up, you can't actually develop on a lot of people can't actually develop on the platform because they won't have smart contracts. And of course, if there's no bull run, there's not that extra incentive to push the price up. So I think 15 cents if Shelley comes out, but not Goguen, it might actually retrace after 15 cents, but I think like 15 cents, you'll have a chance to sell out for a very good profit. Now, what if Shelley and Goguen both come out and there's no bull run? I think if Shelley and Goguen both come out, there'll be enough hype to push it up maybe up to maybe like 30 to 35 cents. Because Shelley's going to give you that first boost. It might retrace, but back to a much higher level than what it was before Shelley and Goguen. Because after Shelley, remember, you're going to be able to stake, and that will actually incentivize people to actually keep the coin and stake, depending on what the staking rewards are. Now, I don't think they're going to be as good as quite as the testnet right now. I don't think that's actually sustainable over the long term. But if Goguen comes out and people are able to actually start developing on it with smart contracts, that should push it up even further. And we know there's a lot of fans and FOMO behind Cardano. So if Shelley and Goguen both come out, people will see that Charles has actually kept his promise. Now, Charles actually says like he thinks Voltaire can be released by the end of 2020. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not really looking forward to Basho and Voltaire. I'm actually looking just to Shelley and Goguen. And I think if both those come out, even if Cardano doesn't, even if the altcoins don't bull run, I think you can get to a safe 30 to 35 cents. And that is excellent profit without a bull run. So that's what I actually think. Now, if a bunch of these big projects for certain countries come out, then yes, Cardano can probably be even higher, maybe like, 40, 50 cents. Because I don't think there's a chance that any of these big projects that will fully deploy by the end of 2020, because I don't think Shelley and Goguen are probably going to come out until the mid 2020s. And for any of these big countrywide projects that Cardano has an MOU with, I doubt they're going to fully deploy in the next 6 months. That almost seems impossible. Like they'll probably come on over like the next months and years. So the projects sort of beginning to deploy will actually push the price up even further. It'll like drive the hype train. So you might be able to get like 40, 45 cents if like without an altcoin bull run, if the rest of that stuff actually happens. So that's kind of like if the altcoin run doesn't actually happen. If the altcoin bull run doesn't actually happen, and then like Cardano actually gets both Shelley Goguen out, and you get some of these MOUs starting to deploy on Cardano and some of these projects deploying on Cardano. That's what I'm talking about when you go into the 40, 45 cent region. Now we're going to go the one pessimistic projection, or, like bull run, but without Shelley and Goguen actually coming out. Charles delays some more, and Shelley and Goguen don't come out by the end of 2020. There is a altcoin bull run, but in that case, if he doesn't release by the end of 2020, I do think that will hurt Cardano price. And even though Cardano might shoot up to 80, 85, I don't know if it can get past $1 without at least Shelley coming out. But I think it will quickly retrace to like 10, 15 cents, if not less. Even if there's an altcoin bull run, but at the end of the year, nothing actually comes out. I think the delays will definitely hurt the price, because I think staking will keep people happy for a while, but I don't think he's bought infinite amounts of time just because the staking is out. I think investors are going to get frustrated if he just like goes out this year and does not actually deliver on any of these releases. So I think he absolutely has to get these releases, Shelley and Goguen out by the end of this year, at least Shelley by the end of this year. And I think Goguen will actually come out by the end of this year. So what about the more optimistic scenarios? What if Shelley comes out, there's a bull run, and Goguen doesn't come out? I actually think you can pass the all-time high just with that. I do think you can get to, if not past the all-time high, I think you can get to about $1 Just with Shelley coming out, with staking, with people retaining the coin, and with extra people buying the coin with a hype for Cardano. So I obviously think like at least for this speculative run in the next year or two, I really do think like an altcoin bull run will have more of an effect than Shelley and Goguen coming out, even though Shelley and Goguen coming out will have a very big effect on Cardano. It's just that the two of them combined, I think like with Shelley coming out, with people staking, and people looking forward to Goguen, I think it can reach like 90 cents a dollar just based on positive sentiment. Cardano did peak at 133 last time, let me remind you, but I think people are going to be a little more careful this time, and they're going to look for actual like improvements in the product, like releases they can actually see. And I think Shelley's a key part of that. So Shelley, I think with Shelley out and the bull run, it can probably reach a dollar. Now, if Goguen comes out, I think people see that completes the ecosystem. I think it can probably get to maybe, almost maybe $2 with Goguen coming out, maybe like $1.50, $1.75 with Goguen coming out at the end of this year, maybe $2 if we have an altcoin bull run. Now, like the size of the altcoin bull run, I'm gonna guess is essentially like absolute value wise, it's gonna be bigger than the last one in 2017, but ROI wise, it probably won't be the same thing because things don't go parabolically up the same ratio forever. Each parabolic movement is generally a little less than the last. And that, if you actually look at it for the Bitcoin parabolic movement, it's actually been true. If you look at the last couple of parabolic movements, each one's are like percentage wise, it's actually less than the last. Now, what if Shelley and Goguen, so like I said, if Shelley and Goguen both come out and we have a parabolic movement, I think you can get up to about $2, and that actually surpasses the last all-time high. Now, if a lot of these projects start deploying, even if not fully, you can probably push the price up to maybe like $2.50, $3, maybe even $3.50, $4. I think that is probably the best case scenario for Cardano end of this year. Now, do I think that will happen? No, I don't really think that will happen. I think like realistically, we can expect Shelley and Goguen to come out. I don't expect a giant parabolic bull run this year. So like if both of those things come out, I'm hoping that Cardano will actually be around 30, 35 cents at the end of this year. That's probably, I think, my most likely price to port Cardano this year. But if everything goes right, I think there is a chance that you get like $3 Cardano by the end of this year. But that has to basically everything has to go right. The stars have to align. They have to shine favorably upon you and upon Charles and Cardano. And you basically have to have a bunch of lucky four-leaf clovers. But it is possible to get that $3 price, which would actually put a gigantic ROI of about 60x on Cardano. I do think that's about the most you can get this year, or the most you can hope for. But most likely, I think like pinning on a price of maybe like 30 to 35 cents this early in the year for end of year Cardano, because we think that Shelley and Goguen are going to come out. I think like 30 to 35 cents is probably the highest point you could reasonably expect to sell off Cardano in this year. It might not happen at the end of the year. It might not happen at the end of the year. It might happen like any point during the year when Goguen actually comes out and the market is good. So basically, that's my analysis on the price of Cardano. Gets to 30, 35 cents, definitely selling part of the stack, regardless if it actually goes up any more in the future. Now, Cardano does have a lot of potential in the future, like a couple of years in the future, when like all these big MOUs actually start deploying. Yes, it can get to like $5, $10 in the future with all these things deploying, but that's like very, very far off. I personally don't think it's going to cross $1 by the end of this year, because I don't really, and that's mainly because of the rest of the market, I don't really believe we'll have a giant parabolic movement for altcoins this year. That'll probably be next year, in my opinion. So that's my takedown on Cardano. That's my breakdown on pricing predictions. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Remember, this is not financial advice. These are only my opinions and based on what I've seen from Cardano's technical standpoint of where they are in the development and the several scenarios that can happen. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Let me know what yours are. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.